Okay, here we are on the fortress for Antonia, and this is a corner that has a lot of space. You can see behind me that there's a large space here. There's some kids playing soccer, which of course upsets the Jews very much. However, we consider this is not such a holy place as many perceive. We believe this is a fortress. And let's take a look at some of the evidence of that. As we're up here, what we have is, of course, a very high point here. And we're going to look at some of the historical records of things that we do know about this fortress and some of the historical aspects of what it is up here. So one of the things that we have up here is, of course, a lot of space. We know in the prophecies that there's going to be a third temple. And that being said, the idea of where is it and all that, it could very well be in this area. Now, as we pause here and look and get a vantage point, this mosque here is not really operational. I mean, it is operational, but it's not so much in use as much as the Dome of the Rock, which is a little bit obscured by the trees at this vantage point. So this whole area that you could see behind me with the kids playing soccer and everything is a very large space. It's a very large space for a third Jewish temple. But at the same time, what is the history of this place? Okay, as we look back, okay, there's the Dome of the Rock back behind the trees, and now there's lots of views and thoughts, but it's going to be quite possible for a place to exist up here, or there's a room for a place up here to have some kind of third temple. So now the views are, well, that the temple is not on the Dome of the Rock. That's actually not the place of the Holy of Holies in Solomon's Temple, but it's the other one, Alaska Mosque. At which point, then this area over here, which is the southernmost area, might be the place of the building of the third temple. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, there's lots of things going on in the news regarding the Temple Mount. There's lots of things up here that are controversial, so I want to get up here as soon as possible. But let's look at some more evidence here. Now we're in an area called Solomon's Stables. That's that there. And basically where we are, as we look out, we can see the Ophel, okay, down below. And that was part of the temple. However, even since Solomon, there's archaeological evidence that the Solomon's chariots and horses, and the chariots and horses that also existed within the Roman legion, were kept in this area down below us. Okay, down below us is presently a mosque. Okay, and that mosque is operational, but it's called Solomon's Stables. So, of course, the fortress and Roman legion would have needed a place for, like 600, horsemen and horses. So that would have existed right in this area below me. Okay, and that's just more and more evidence that this is a Roman fortress. Here's a view of Solomon's Stables. Stairs leading from the top level of the fortress heading down. There are stairs heading down, and we'll take a look and show you the doors. This is, of course, all newer construction because it is an active mosque. So Solomon's Stables is very large, huge vaults and everything down here. Okay, I can't really give you a sense in the video, but those gates are about 15 feet high. You can see how large they all are. And so down below, it maintains that height, and there's a huge area. So they called that Solomon's stables. And why would you have horses in your temple? Of course you wouldn't, but you would have horses in your fortress. Thus, this area here is clearly part of the Roman legion and part of the horses that they kept for the legion. Behind me here is the Gate of Mercy, or the East Gate, Golden Gate. It's the one that's closed on the outside. It's come up on the news and everything with some controversy regarding the Temple Mount. But that's what we have right here. And we can see, of course, this is a very old gate. What this does, guys, is this gate leads to the outside of the walls. So another reason we know this is a fortress is that the temple would not be on the east gate, which falls off into the cliff of the Kidron Valley. That's what this gate does here. You can see it's very large. But the east gate is a significant gate. It would have had a entry point. Some call it the Gate Beautiful. Okay, a gate kind of like this at the east, but it would be very large, and it would be a place by which you would, you would not have an entrance or access to your temple falling off a cliff. So we can look down here, and you can see down below the lower portion of where the entry was here. So again, this is just more reason to believe it's a Roman fortress holding a legion. All right, here we're at the western wall, and you can see the massive destruction that has taken place. Right here is the road, the Herodian road. This is north, this is south, heading south, and this would have fallen from the top. Now, Josephus describes large towers at each corner of the fortress. So this is the corner, and we consider these stones here to be part of the tall tower that would have existed in this corner here. Okay, so what we have here is these are additions that were added. Okay, but we do know this is the Robinson Arch here. Okay, these are the stones leading up to that level. So we have Herodian stones at least up to there, so we know it goes there. However, they did not damage or destroy this wall, but they destroyed of course, the tower at some point. There's also damage in many things here. Also, within this area are many mikvahs, which is a ritual bath. So these were things that were very Jewish. We showed you the half shekel, very Jewish artifacts that were here. However, this you have all continuing all this way. Okay, so this is strong evidence of the fact that the towers that were destroyed were toppled and came down off the wall. This is the Cardo, okay, and we can see the damage here and the stones that fell from the top. And this is called the Robinson's Arch. It came out over here and connected down below. So let's take a look at the road. And you can see down below is the original Roman road. Okay, now where we were before, another piece of evidence why we don't consider these original, as you can see they're just on dirt and there's no real foundation. What Herod did, he built this, on strong foundations, which we can see down below. We can even show you potentially some of the stones that go down below. Let's see. Okay, this is amazing, guys. I can't emphasize enough how amazing this discovery is. This is something called a becca, or a half shekel. This is what it looked like, and they found this under the area where we are here. And it's a Second Temple coin that was found from the time of the Second Temple. On one side, the words Jerusalem, or Jerusalem, holy, and the other, half shekel. Half shekel coins like this were brought by many pilgrims who visited the Temple Mount and the temple in the holidays. Now you can see I have with me the same thing in our day. So what they did is they had, this wasn't a currency that they used because they used the Roman currency. Okay, they weren't a free state. But they made these when they were, talking about the redemption, all right? And that's what's happening now, is they've made them again. Now, these are not the coins in circulation, but you can see this is a example of a beca with the temple. They're going to build a second temple, okay? And we have another video on this, but there you can see Donald Trump, Cyrus, seal of United States, seal of Persia. Okay, so what happened is the people were counted and they were destroyed. Okay, the same thing is happening. The beast is counting the people to destroy them. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, please watch the video on Cyrus. But isn't that amazing? It's about what this stuff means, guys. All right, here at the Western Wall, we're at the corner, which is not visible, but it's down there. And we're going to also show you the evidence of the 10th Roman Legion's presence all along this wall. So this is the Western Wall, and we're facing north. So there's so much evidence of, of course there's evidence of Jewish presence here, but there's a lot more evidence of the 10th Roman Legion. So we'll show you all that evidence as well as we've taken these tours down below. Running along the Western Wall, we have Herodian stones, and they're moving. There's a couple centimeters, and they're recessed. And we're now presently under the Muslim quarter above us. Another huge Herodian stone we can see here, and it's really hard to get in video the scope of the enormous size of these particular stones. We know that the first one is 40 feet, and then this one we would have to measure. It's almost the same size. Again, this is just the enormous water supply for Fortress Antonia. Remember, a legion has 6,000 troops, not including support personnel. So that's why this is an enormous cistern. And let's keep in mind that as large as this is, as large a cistern, largest source of water, this is probably about 2/3 of it. The additional 1/3 is beyond that wall there. Here we have actual waters and an active cistern.
There's a vertical stones that form an arch. This pool measures 55 by 14 meters. So the larger part of this pool is on the other side of that arch.
You're now at the Struthian pool, This is underground, below the ground. We're in close proximity over here. Beyond this wall is another pool. This whole pool continues beyond the wall, and after that we have the western wall, the foundation, the bottom of the western wall. This is an enormous aqueduct system here underground. There's an aqueduct coming this way, and this whole area has other huge, enormous aqueducts and water feeding into it. The size of this whole room is probably about 2/3 of what is on the other side. We also had the other side, we did the western wall, and that's Jewish. This is a church runs this, and they put up a wall to separate. But this is a lot of water for Fort Antonio. Now, what's interesting is they say Fort Antonio here is just a little fort, but we believe that water sources like this is what was for the whole Fort Antonio, what is presently called the Temple Mount. So we're going to go through more of this and look at these water systems here. Here we have a stone, and we can see this is part of the cardo that we have underground. And in this cardo we have what's called games. I'm going to show you more of a detail to this, but what you can see here, games into the pavement to remind us of Christ's suffering. So these are games that they played, and from what I understand, there is the Roman legion etched into the description here. I do have another photograph on another place where they show the various symbols and emblems of the 10th Legion. Here's a description of the games that we saw. This was what we saw on the pavement stone. The large circle represents a crown. We have a scorpion, symbol of the Roman legion. So when we saw that symbol here, scorpion, is of the Roman legion, so that's why we know that this part of the western wall where we are is the Roman legion. King in Greek, okay? King in Greek. So these are all part of the game. Double square represents the dice, and the soldiers would throw markers onto this square. So this is the type of thing when they cast lots for Yeshua, they would play these various games. But here in the northern portion of the fortress Antonia, we do have a symbol of a scorpion, which is the Roman legion. And there are various symbols throughout the western wall, which we'll continue to show you. And as we look at the pavement stone, this is the symbol of the scorpion and the 10th Roman legion. Okay guys, we're here at a old wall, and you'll see in the tour guide's description that we have a clear description of the 10th Roman legion. Pottery and things discovered with stairs leading down. Now this is a raw excavation, it's pretty new, so we have stairs leading down, and this is a little bit of the view after the tour guide is left, but he's clearly describing the 10th Roman legion here in an old door with stairs leading. Okay, so now let's listen to his description of what we're looking at.
Beginning of the street, but it's blocked by this wall. So, what came first, the street or the wall? Street. Right. Okay. So they usually say if something's built on top of something else, it has to be from a later period. Most times. So, they found other interesting artifacts here, like clay ovens with the symbol of the 10th Roman Legion. 10th Roman Legion is credited with destroying the temple. That's Titus's legion, you know, the arch of Titus in Rome, when they took all the temple implements and did the drawings and put it on the arch there. Okay, so this may be a wall from a fortress, from the 10th Roman Legion. Take a look at the windows. Two different windows. So one assumption is everything around us is not here. during this time. Basically, where my colleague is above us doing the journey to Jerusalem, there's nothing up there. So over time, the city is going to be rising. And one of the reasons for that is because we're standing in this valley. Basically, where we are now, we're between the Temple Mount, which again, the assumption is the street leads right to the gate that's the closest to the temple, and people walk down the street, walk down these stairs 2,000 years ago. And on the other side, we have like the Jewish quarter to my left, the Christian quarter to my right. Above us is the Muslim quarter. So when people were here, when the street was here, and then when this wall was built, the sky. Take a look at the windows. Why would someone want to design windows like that? What's so special about the window?
Defense. Defense.
Okay, defense. Why?
You can't
You have a street. You have people coming through. The corridor's not there yet exactly when this wall is built, but it's going to be. So you have a lot of dust. So make it narrow so you don't get the dust inside your fortress, and make it wide on the outside to bring in as much available light as you can. So that's what they talk, that's what they say. It's a very unusual design. There are not too many standing fortresses from like the year 80, 90, 100.
Here at Jaffa Gate, we have an example of the kind of slots that are in the wall. If we take a look back here, here at the main Jaffa Gate, over here, what's called the Tower of David, and we can see these slots. Let's point out these slots here. See all these slots? These are basically slots in the wall that we saw in the Western Wall that were for, of course, defense, right? And if we come inside, this is what it looks inside the wall. Okay, you can see the, kind of alcove, and then going out we have the slots, and we saw these in the Western Wall, of course, which is quite interesting. But that's why we consider it to be, why do we have slots for military, like we can see all along these walls? Why do we have this in the Western Wall? See all those? Those are all in the temple, right? Well, it's because it's a fortress. Okay, here we have again a clear Roman legion, which is being described here. And these are the originals. Okay, in the plaque, the 10th Roman Legion. Okay, Jewish war against Rome 70 CE. Okay, aside from their military role, the legion's soldiers were also engaged in various public works. 10th Legion operated workshops for the production of clay bricks, roof tiles, on which were insignias. A gallery, a boar, appear together with the initials LXF for Legio X, okay, the 10th Roman Legion. And this we find in the Davidson Center. So where we are is we're just in this area here. All right, here we have the remnants of an old Roman bath in this room that's being described. I'll give you a little bit of our tour guide's description of this, but again, we have more Roman things right outside what we believe to be the Fort Antonia. More and more evidence of this. Of course, most of the stonework here is fairly new, but what he says is it's very similar to Masada.
System. They use furnaces. They bring steam under the floor, like a heated floor. Masada, same idea. So it comes way into the Middle Ages here, and these were in use until, well, there's one that they're renovating right now. So one was, I think, this one was in use till like the 1960s, and the other one they're renovating. Okay, so before everyone's looking around and wondering what this is, we'll take a look at this. Western Wall. What is this piece doing here, and where are we exactly? We are here. Has anybody, well, there's a women's gallery, let's go for a minute. There's a women's gallery up above. You have permission to come inside. Yesterday, there were about 1,000 women there in a 4-hour period. What happened? No bar mitzvahs at the hotel. It was just wet. I don't know what people did. So next week, it turned out to be, it took 6 months longer to excavate this, and nobody could say anything. It was a very unique find, not just in the city, but the world. So what is it? Any ideas? Okay. An aqueduct, because of the drainage channel, right? The drainage channel is part of a whole drainage system to drain water away from the western wall. We know it's here. You can walk it up from the city of David, taking water away so the walls don't get undermined. Okay? But here, let's take the idea of a semicircle. Here.
Okay, we're walking along the drainage tunnel, and this drainage tunnel runs all the way down to the Pool of Siloam. And it goes from the corner, we're presently at the south and western corner of the fortress, walking down, and we do have a drainage channel, which would take the drainage and everything from up above and route it down below, all the way down at the bottom of the city of David. Okay, so this is this drainage channel, and above us was a road, and it's called the Herodian Road. Okay, and we don't have to get video footage of the whole thing, but you can see it's a drainage channel. Okay, it would have taken the rain and excess water all the way down, and above us was a Herodian Road. Okay, Pool of Siloam. And what we can see here is this is the pool. It was dug, it was discovered. You can see the steps going down. And this is Second Temple period. Okay. And let's look at this. This is the famous story when the man went into the water. Okay. But they have here Pool of Siloam in Hezekiah's time. Okay, so it looked something like this, with steps going down and a large pool. Herodian Street. It's now finished. All right, now here is the Herodian Road here by the Western Wall, which you can see. And this one behind me is north, okay? And this we're showing you at various angles. Now it's significant because this road is heading in this direction, would head all the way south and would go down to the Pool of Siloam. Okay, so this is the actual road. Below it is the drainage channel, and that is this is this level. Now let's read Flavius Josephus as he describes the destruction of Jerusalem. After the Romans destroyed Jerusalem during the first Jewish-Roman War in 70 CE, they turned their sights to Masada, Herod's magnificent fortified palatial complex high atop the plateau in the Judean desert overlooking the Dead Sea. Josephus quotes Eleazar, the Jewish leader of Masada, as trying to convince his people to commit suicide rather than being taken captive by the Romans upon the Jewish defenders' impending defeat. Eleazar asked them, "Where is this city that was believed to have God himself inhabiting it. It is now demolished to the very foundations and has nothing but that monument preserved. I mean, the camp of those that have destroyed it, which still dwells upon its ruins. So after the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE, the Romans then went to Masada. And then Masada was destroyed, I believe, 3 years later. And when they are talking about the destruction, they said the only thing remaining was the fortress, was the camp of those that destroyed Jerusalem, which dwells upon its ruins. And I cannot but wish that we had all died before we had seen that holy city demolished by the hands of our enemies. For the foundations of our holy temple were dug up after so profane a matter. So the actual stones were dug up. Josephus describes that in another place, to where they were looking for gold. Okay, here is the western wall, and what we've done is we've seen the pools up here, we've seen Wilson's Arch here, we've shown you a little bit of Robinson's Arch, and all along this we had Roman legion markings up here, Roman legion things here, Roman legion things outside here. Now what I wanted to point out is this is an actual rendering of the temple that's you see on the tours. And if you look at all the diametrically opposed lines, this is certainly not a order of God's temple. Now this is, they're placing the temple over the Dome of the Rock and positioning properly east to west. See that? But if you look, the actual Temple Mount is not aligned east to west, nor is it positioned east to west. You can see the temple has a positioning this way, but this whole fortress is positioned north to south. So that is this proper east to west. Now look at, nothing is lining up with that. These are the outside walls of what they call the Temple Mount. We consider it Fortress Antonia. And this is the present raised level that the present Dome of the Rock sits on. None of these lines, as you look at it, line up at all. So whoever built this was either schizophrenic or it just wasn't the temple.